On this episode of Enduro Chronicles, we are in Auckland, New Zealand for the Red Bull City Scramble. The best riders are in town for a unique Enduro cross event in the harbour. We also catch up with local favourite Chris Birch, who, as well as being the course designer and builder, took some of his peers on a breathtaking free ride in New Zealand's backcountry. Chris Birch has been at the summit of hard enduro for many years now. Despite being one of the top riders in the sport, the New Zealander can still recall how he started out with little money and almost no support.
The first Romaniacs I did, we did enough climbing to actually get from sea level to the top of Mount Everest. It was just me and a friend coming out from New Zealand, and we had the bike and kind of did our own thing. It was very scary. My family's hugely supportive of the racing. Monica, when I met her, had absolutely zero interest in motorbikes at all, and now she's pit crew, mechanic, boss. My parents are both bike mad and follow everything that I do. It's really nice actually to come back here and still be able to go riding with my parents.
After making his way up the ranks of hard enduro, Chris Birch's biggest accomplishment came in 2010 when he won the Red Bull Romaniacs.
The first person I call will be my wife Monica, because she'll be wide awake, sitting on the bed at home at 2 o'clock in the morning, waiting for me to call.
As the sun rises on a perfect autumn day in Auckland, preparations are well underway to build the unique Enduro cross track in the harbour.
The Red Bull City Scramble is basically our take on Enduro cross. We haven't got a stadium, so we decided we'd bring it into the city. So I went and bought a box of beers, went back to my house, called in my friends around and said, what are we going to do? And we decided we wanted to run an Enduro cross in the centre of town. You sat down and just drew like the ultimate track, and we ended up building something pretty damn close to that.
For the last 3 days we've been creating what I think is the world's biggest and nastiest Enduro cross track. We've been building massive platforms, chainsaws, loaders, learned a lot of new skills, and we've put together a really incredible track. My favourite piece of the track is the absolutely humongous wall ride. It's really incredible that no one's ever built anything anywhere near this big, and it's a lot of fun to ride.
We're about to get started. Everyone's here, everyone's signed on. Yeah, it's looking really, really good. It's come together perfectly.
With the track built and spectators lining its walls, qualifying gets underway. But many riders are finding the going a little tough.
Qualifying went really good. Had a pretty smooth run, and I came second. Behind, I would imagine, Graham Jarvis.
Yeah, I had a good clean run, so I'm happy with that. Got a few seconds on the other riders, so it gives me a bit of confidence.
Went pretty good actually. I was third, I think I was third, qualified third. There's nothing in it between me, Chris and Letty.
As New Zealand's best enduro rider, Chris Birch also helps raise the profile of his sport in his home country. Today, it's about promoting it on the radio.
Very lucky this afternoon. We've got all sorts of people rolling up on the show, and right now in the studio with us, we've got Birchie, Chris Birch, Red Bull New Zealand, or actually Red Bull International Enduro Rider of the Decade. We'll just put it out there. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for a very nice introduction. Let's talk about.
You know, you're such a humble fella, and you've got a big event on this weekend, and you're currently carrying an injury. What's happened to you?
Yeah, I did the old rocking along section of grass trick and had a yard sale of a crash, and I've broken a couple of ligaments in my knee.
So when you say yard sale, that means that your motorcycle went end over end over end over end. Everything just got blown to bits, including you.
You know when you go to a yard sale and it looks like everyone's spread their stuff around the lawn?
Yeah.
That's what my bike and my kit looked like.
This weekend, tomorrow in fact, something very exciting happening in Auckland that you have organised.
Yeah, this is the big event for us. It's the Red Bull City Scramble, and it's an enduro cross race. So it's basically all the elements we've got in a normal enduro course squashed and put into a really intense inner city environment. Last time we did it, I managed to karate kick 3 people in the chest and still stay on the bike. I was pretty stoked.
Cheers, mate.
After a decent start, the Rock Garden claims the first few casualties in the race. With Jarvis leading out in front, Germany's Andreas Lettenbichler is pushing hard to pass the field and finally manages to join Jarvis in the final. The second semi-final will determine which riders will join them. Chris Birch has a faultless start and leads the pack going into the wall ride. The local boy looks in decent shape to make the final with ease, winning his semi.
That was good. Really good. Probably the most enjoyable race so far.
New Zealand's breathtaking landscapes lend themselves perfectly to enduro freeriding, something Chris Birch was keen to show his fellow competitors.
So we've got Graham Jarvis here, my 2 teammates from South Africa, Dom and Scott, and some of the best local riders. And we're going to take them freeriding New Zealand style, show these guys a good time.
Time away from competition helps the riders take their minds off the pressures of racing. Freeriding in this environment can only boost one's passion for the sport. Focusing one's energy on a sport and balancing it with everyday life is something Chris Birch manages with relative ease, even if it means living out of a suitcase from one hotel to another.
Yeah, at the moment, our home is in South Africa. Our base is in South Africa. I think Auckland and New Zealand's always going to be home, so I'll say the base. At the moment, Monica and I are living in a hotel in town. Our little house, we've rented that out, so we can't kick them out. So yeah, we're staying in a hotel in town, and Monica's got used to that. That's been my life for the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I mean, as long as we're together, it's not really too much of a problem. And that's been the big bonus with moving to South Africa, is that Monica's been able to quit her job and we go everywhere together now.
If he comes first, second, third, 57th, as long as he finishes the day and is happy, then yeah, there's nothing better when he gets off his bike and he's smiling. That makes me stoked.
We've gone from spending loads of time apart to only spending 2 or 3 days apart a year. It's much better.
I don't actually like watching him race, like do the actual racing, because I get too nervous that he's going to do, not that he'll hurt himself, but he'll do something silly and he'll be disappointed in himself.
With the semi-finals out of the way, it's time for the top 8 riders to battle it out for the title. Will it be Paul Bolton, Chris Birch, Graham Jarvis, or will another rider step up to the plate and beat them all? After a blistering start, Graham Jarvis leads the pack over the tires, but stumbles soon afterwards, with Paul Bolton taking full advantage. After the rock garden, Bolton still leads his compatriot going into the wall ride. It's neck and neck, and on the final log ramp, Jarvis regains the lead and is now pulling away from Bolton. Graham Jarvis storms through the finish line and wins the 2012 Red Bull City Scramble title, closely followed by Paul Bolton.
Took me by surprise. Paul kept coming back, couldn't lose it. One of the trials bikes was right up my arse as well, and it was awesome.
I'm stoked, man. This is such a cool event, and to be able to do this in my hometown, bring these top guys and show the local riders how fast these dudes are, it's really awesome. Dream come true.
After yet another victory in the season, Graham Jarvis has pulled further clear of the field, with Paul Bolton now in second place. On the next Enduro Chronicles, we travel to Eisenerz in Austria for the one and only Red Bull Hair Scramble, the classic of the hard Enduro season. There we hook up with 12-time Trials World Champion Doogie Lampkin and see what this event means to him. All this and more on Enduro Chronicles.